Okay, we'll make a start. So welcome, and today is our next in the series of our award showcase webinars. And today we are looking at the Best Partnership Collaboration Award, which was won by Commercial Services Group in partnership with Luton Borough Council. And they won that category, and then they also won the overall Gold Award. So I'm going to hand over to Steve Wilson from Commercial Services Group and Helen Davey from London Borough Council.
Thank you, Grace. And thank you, everybody, for taking time to listen to our presentation. So just introduction, I'm Commercial Director at Commercial Services Group. I've been working now with Helen for a number of years, since August 2020, on our recruitment joint venture for contingent and interim staffing. So I'm going to pass over to Helen, who's just going to talk through a few slides on the backdrop, the backstory to Luton Borough Council's decision-making and the process they went through.
Thank you, Steve. So our challenge was that we were coming to the end of a very long contract with Guidant, which was a managed service provider. 17 years we had been with Guidant, but actually, we were looking at we wanted to do something a bit different because the costs were rising. We were finding that there was a lack of quality. We had quite a high turnover of our contingent workforce. And also we wanted to do something a bit different that would make us more of a destination of choice. But we looked into the market just to see what else was out there, because we did want to do something a little bit different. We just didn't want to do the same thing again, because we weren't finding that we were getting value for money out of that managed service provision or the other things that were in the market at the time. So let's go on to the next slide, and I'll talk about our economy as well. So Luton is a super diverse borough. We have over 225,000 residents, but with that comes significant challenge. So we have a claimant count of 8.4%, which is up from 3.4% in March 2020. 25% of working age adults are economically inactive. We have more than one in four workers earn below the real living wage. And 36% of our Luton businesses have skills gaps. So that's part of our challenge, that actually we want to ensure that our economy grows, the economy of Luton grows. So it takes me on to my next slide to talk about our ambition. So anybody that knows Luton will know of our 2040 vision, which is that Luton will be a healthy, sustainable town where everyone can thrive and no one has to live in poverty by 2040. That's really ambitious for us to get there. But actually, we have already made significant inroads into that. So we're going in the right direction. And part of that is around local jobs for local people. We're very clear about that actually we wanted to have a partnership where local people and we were involved with local people and the community, and that means that we keep the Luton pound in Luton, so the money stays within the borough of Luton. Thanks. I'll pass back to Steve.
Thanks, Helen. So just to give everybody a brief introduction as to the other side of the partnership, the Connect to Luton partnership, and that's Commercial Services Group. We're a group of companies wholly owned by Kent County Council. We're really proud of our local government heritage, the fact that everything that we produce in terms of creation of surplus goes back into frontline services and local communities. So when we started speaking to Luton, we actually had, you can see the recruitment managed services section there. We'd actually run the shareholder provision for Kent since 2003. And we'd already established a successful joint venture with Hampshire County Council. that hopefully gave colleagues at Luton a little bit of peace of mind that it wasn't such a radical model that we were embarking on. Since then, we've worked with colleagues at Surrey and also Dudley to create further joint ventures, and we're hoping to be able to announce the next one next week. We just couldn't squeeze that in timescales for this presentation, I'm afraid. So actually, when we start looking, what is a recruitment or contingent and interim staffing joint venture? It's actually Connect to Luton, like the other joint ventures. It is a company, an individual company owned by the two parties. So Commercial Services Kent Limited and Luton Borough Council. So it's set up as a TECL company, which means there's no procurement requirement via the TECL exemption to be able to award that company work. So it's a compliance TECL organisation. It's set up to deliver the core service, which is the contingent and interim staffing requirements at Luton Borough Council. So they have a team now that's grown to, I believe, 7 people that directly source candidates from their own methods and for placement at the council, which means that there's a retention of the markups that would have previously gone out the door to suppliers. But also, we do engage a number of suppliers, specialist providers, via a dynamic purchasing system, which gives the compliant, procurement compliant route. All of the support services that mean that Connect to Luton as a joint venture company can thrive are delivered by the team back in Kent. So that's marketing, compliance, payroll, ICT, HR, etc. And because it's set up as a TECL company, there is the ability to utilise up to 20% of that company's turnover to trade externally via a number of different conduits. So that's supplying temporary and permanent staffing into, for example, schools, health care providers, etc., which we'll come on to. So what is Connect to Luton? That's the trading style of Luton and Kent Commercial Services LLP, the company that's set up. It's a joint venture partnership, so both parties own 50% of the joint venture. Both parties put in to set it up on a 50-50 basis, and both parties actually work together to deliver the services, the core services that it was set up to do, and both parties are rewarded if the company creates a surplus that goes back into communities in Luton and also in Kent. So it was set up by Luton Council and Commercial Services Group, owned by Kent County Council back in August 2020. And it's really grown and it's a thriving company now that actually is making a significant difference to people in and around the borough. Whether that's building skills, employability opportunities, delivering social value, engaging with care leavers, etc. It's building the skills and talent pipeline for people to give opportunities to work for the council. So in terms of some of the numbers that we've seen it deliver, the core service, like I said, is into the council. So you can see there it's across the board. We've had particular success in some of the hard to fill roles like interims, professionals, technicals, social worker placements, etc. Right the way across to non-qualified care, as well as some of the core corporate roles that are business and admin and trades and labour. So it covers all of the requirements that Luton as a council need when they go out to market to engage for contingent or interim staffing. It's actually a lot different to a normal recruitment managed service provision. Because Luton own it, they can adapt it and make it their own. So it's not a rigid specification that doesn't change with Luton's requirements over time. Because they have that control and governance through the ownership model, they've been able to adapt the services significantly to meet ever-changing demands. We mobilised remotely in the middle of the first wave pandemic, not something that I would recommend we try again, and hopefully we won't. But actually, it's been able to adapt to things like the COVID mass testing in Luton, where we recruited a couple of hundred people in a matter of a handful of weeks to be able to staff the asystematic testing sites. But then as we've looked at other impacts, global impacts that Luton have actually felt. One is the Ukrainian crisis. The fact that Luton were really agile to set up a reception centre at Luton Airport, and that was staffed by colleagues at Luton, but also Connect to Luton, to make sure that people, when they arrived in Luton, got a really good reception and were helped into communities, but also helped into employment opportunities within the borough. We will come on to some of the work we've been doing in terms of the successful introduction to address some of the hard to fill roles like children's qualified social worker recruitment, but that's actually Connect to Luton and Luton Borough Council have been really innovative to build that brand and those opportunities to attract qualified social workers into Luton to work for the council. It's really important that while we do lots of additional things, the core business, the transactional business, the supply into Luton Borough Council is met. And we've managed to reduce vacancy rates between ourselves through the partnership at the council. But once that core business has been set up, we're able to diversify into things like senior management recruitment, supporting schools with their recruitment, and also things like the DBS service for the council and into schools. But at the core of Connect to Luton is actually that social value aspect. And that's something we're really proud of, and something that it isn't just a tick box exercise. It's something that colleagues at Luton and Connect to Luton have really worked hard together to drive. In terms of standing out, one of the key differences is before, Luton were one of many councils in a very competitive region, east of England, but also competing with staff and talent in the London market. So very much it was a case of you would see roles advertised via the managed service providers or the agencies, but it wouldn't really highlight the incredible journey that Luton are on as an organisation and a council, and some of the really good work that they're doing in terms of their career pathways, their retention, etc. So actually it was really easy for the joint venture to build that contingent and interim employee value proposition that's actually allowed Luton Borough Council to stand out in a competitive market as a destination of choice. And we've seen significant increases in the number of candidates that want to come and work for Connect to Luton because they know that they're the Luton-owned agency. They'll get all of the choice of all the roles in Luton, but also they know that by working for Connect to Luton, the money is going back into the services that they work, whether that's children's, whether that's healthcare, whether that's education, which has been a really big drive to help elevate Luton as a destination of choice. So very briefly, I'd like to look at 3 reasons why Connect to Luton has been a successful partnership and why we were very lucky that we did win the Best Partnership Award and the overall Gold Award. First thing is it's about enabling first-class public services. So right from the start, we looked at the values and ambitions that we were going to set Connect to Luton to work out whether it was going to be a successful company and a successful service to the council. Those values and ambitions are fully aligned with, like Helen said, the Luton 2040 long-term objective there. The fact that they are prioritising local communities, local residents, that they're delivering the employability opportunities. So yes, the core service is very, very important. And there's robust service level agreements to make sure that quality is there and fulfillment is there. But actually, it's so much more than just delivering that basic service. Connect to Luton is now seen as an extension to Luton Council, not a separate organisation. In fact, the key success is Helen and her team work really closely with the team in Connect to Luton to have that holistic, joined up approach when approaching candidates in the marketplace. They can either give them permanent roles or temporary roles while candidates are looking for their next permanent choice. And then when they're in their bookings, in their assignments, the Luton are very good at providing them with development opportunities with a view to then taking them on permanently. We have now a team of 11 professional recruiters based in Luton, so it's actually created local jobs in the economy. Those are all locally based recruitment consultants. that actually cover all of the requirements for the council and some of the flex requirements when required. So number two, Connect to Luton, we've referred to it a couple of times, but we can't understate it's very much at the forefront of local jobs for local people, not only through creation of those jobs for the recruitment team based in Luton, but also prioritising local communities, working with care leavers, working with the third sector. We'll come on to hopefully play a short video afterwards, where we've worked with the Third Sector Jobs 22 organisation that work to get long-term unemployed people back into work. We've had particular success around that, opening up the opportunities in Luton Borough Council for local residents and prioritising wherever possible those local residents. So delivering significant social value and also helping the local economy to thrive. Third reason is, and it's not to be understated, the external audits that we've had, the reviews that we've had, have actually identified that Connect to Luton as a company is a strong, sustainable business. We're really proud of the fact that actually, instead of paying out to private sector markets, by paying your own company, that company should create a surplus and will create a surplus. And that surplus is provided back to the shareholders by way of a dividend for reinvestment in frontline services and communities. And this is something both partners are really proud of. The fact that since its launch in August 2020 to date, we've actually managed to deliver just short of £1 million back to communities and back to frontline services via a dividend to Luton Council. So that is significant reinvestment back into local communities, the local economies. But now we're able to grow. We've got the core service that's really delivering into the council, but we've now been able to grow to support local schools with their recruitment needs, whether that's temporary or permanent recruitment needs, not only in London, but across the whole region now. And that provides additional income generation for further reinvestment via the council in these local communities and local frontline services. But also, Luton are a commercial council. Many of you probably don't know they actually own their own airport, a significant commercial venture, it works really well for the council. So we've been able to look at opening up and prioritising airport jobs with permanent recruitment needs, which further helps that part of the Luton Council family through getting good people to work at the airport. We've seen positive feedback from, like I say, the audits, the company's house audits, etc., around the financial health of the business. It really is a truly sustainable organisation. So those are three areas that we just wanted to highlight that we're particularly proud of, and say thank you very much for taking time to listen. Before we get on to Q&A, I believe that Grace is going to attempt to try and share our video that we put together that really we think showcases the partnership. So over to you, Grace.
My name's Helen Davey and I am the recruitment lead for Luton Council. I have worked at the council for almost 16 years and my role within the joint venture is the client partner. We had decided that we needed to do something quite drastic in terms of our contingent workforce because of the costs involved. It was spiralling out of control because the demand was going up.
When I came to become a councillor, I wanted to ensure that I bring the positive narrative of Luton. My role has been to bring about policy and influence policies and create policies, but also to be the voice of residents. Because I am on APSI and I chair the advisory group for commercialisation, income generation and traded. And I met Helen from Commercial Services.
For us, a joint venture was absolutely the right way to go because it meant that we had a lot of control and also in terms of the financial reward that was coming back into our pockets.
What the local authority lacks is that ease of taking risk, of having commercial skills and experience. You get into a partnership, well, you share the risk, but also you share a greater chance of the reward, which is the profit or the surplus.
I was really keen on the partnership working and the way that they were embracing our values and our mission, our 2040 vision as well.
In regards to getting councillors on board, what I've done with commercial services and with my officer is walk them through the governance process. So when we were working on the business plan, I kept thinking, oh, what questions would I ask? I want the oppositions, so all parties, Labour, even the administration, the Lib Dems and the Conservative, to be comfortable of the journey we were taking. All councillors bought into it and saw the benefit to Luton residents and to the council. And the other thing is that the shareholders, we gave back the shareholders their money early. So that was brilliant for me.
The other thing I'd like to say is that there's a company called Jobs 22 helping people who've been unemployed, long-term unemployed. We've had some success with Jobs 22, getting people back into work through the Connect to Luton route into the council.
My name is Michael Neophytos. I'm the Employer Services Consultant for Jobs 22. And I've been there almost now 16 months since the start of the Restart scheme. My role is to basically engage with employers to create opportunities for the unemployed. I mean, our goal is to help eradicate and reduce unemployment in the area, and that's the whole goal of the Restart scheme. It was originally set up to get people back into work due to COVID. There is a talent pool out there that is untapped, and in conjunction with Connect to Luton, we hope to open up these opportunities. It's hard to find someone, an organisation like Connect to Luton that has the understanding of, you know, the background where these people are coming from. I've been doing this job 15 years and they're probably one of the most accommodating employers that I've ever dealt with in myself.
Every local authority who is struggling to recruit social workers, there's a national shortage. But what Connect to Luton, what the joint venture has been able to do is to direct source some of those social worker roles, which means we're not paying the additional cost for an agency. And of course, then it's better that we've got more opportunity to then attempt to perm those workers. Connect to Luton are working very closely with our adult learning department, and we worked closely so that where we see there are skill shortages, we can push people through to do our Passport to Employment course. Connect to Luton is in a really good place. They've got really good relationships with our hiring managers now. They understand the business, they understand the requirements.
The main thing is Connect to Luton being a major influencer in the local economy of what everybody in Luton gets paid, to raise the wages of those of all to achieve the 2040 vision of nobody in poverty. The advice I would give to other councillors is not to be afraid. Commercialisation is here and it ain't going away, so you embrace it.
It is a no-brainer. You need to do it because in terms of your contingent workforce, it means that you will have much more control, you'll have much more oversight of what's going on, and also you will get back some of the money from it, so the money's not all going into the private sector.
Thank you, Grace. I think we're ready if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, if anyone has a question, then feel free to pop it in the chat box, or you can pop your camera on and ask. I think I had a question, but it was more around the awards. So I was just thinking of your entry to the PPMA Excellent in People Management Awards. For anyone thinking of entering for 2024, why would you encourage them to enter?
I think it's sorry, Helen, if I answer this first, I think for me the most important thing is it's really good recognition, potential recognition for the team, that deliver it. As an organisation, of course, it's wonderful for Commercial Services Group and for Luton Borough Council. But I think for me, it's really good to recognise the hard work that's gone into something like this, and to give the team that moment and that recognition. And it's really well deserved. They work really, really hard, and the success hasn't been instant and come overnight. It's taken some work. So for me, and I don't know if you agree, Helen, it would be the recognition for the team, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that, Steve. Definitely the recognition for the team, but also I think it's in terms of our raising our profile, if you like. It's sort of raised our profile with the LGA, the East of England Local Government Association have been in touch. They're doing a little showcase on it, so it sort of raises our profile as well. So I would say definitely for the recognition, but also to raise the profile and get the message out there about what a fantastic partnership this is, and how it's benefited us.
I think there's also the potential for areas of innovation, sharing best practice. Like I say, we've learnt lessons along the way, we've adapted, and we've certainly come out the other side stronger. But actually, local government, I think, has got a really good opportunity to share best practice, and the awards is a really good way of doing that. I've had conversations with colleagues over numerous councils that were also shortlisted for awards, and it gave me the opportunity to think, well, okay, what can I learn from them? What can we learn from them? And there's lots of best practice out there. So actually, it's just a great way of showcasing that.
Great, thank you. Does anyone have any other questions? Monica, did you have a question? No?
Not a question, sorry. No, just a comment. Just wanted to say thank you for the presentation and for speaking. I think it's just such an interesting thing to kind of learn about, and just something so completely different, generally speaking, to what councils do. So I think it's fantastic to see how, a fresh perspective on things and a fresh approach just can make all the difference. And obviously the recruitment issues that you were referring to, everyone has. I'm based at Salford Council in the Greater Manchester area, so we share the same sort of issues and struggles with recruitment and kind of trying to think outside the box. But you've properly thought outside the box, which is brilliant. So no, just lovely to see how well it's worked out for you.
Thank you, Monica. Example. Thank you.
Great. Well, yeah, I think it's just thank you for Steve and Helen for your time today. Yeah,
pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Bye.
All right. Bye.